All right. My saucy take is that Penn State will win its first 2 CFP games. That
I
means they
feel
will
like
be
that's regular garlic parm. I mean, they're going to be favored in both of them.
yes,
Those are
yes.
those are just the Wendy's nuggets. That's all that is.
Right. That's not even like you
Yeah.
got the original Wendy's
You just
nuggets
got
with
the-
no
you just got
sauce.
the crispy nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it would be saucier, and then I went and looked at the odds of it. Penn State has the second highest odds to make the semifinals.
It's interesting though, River, that you bring this up because this is a point I've been making, and somebody got mad at me in the chat the other day for saying this, but most people I would think agree with me. I feel like Oregon got punished for winning the Big Ten title game because Penn State got the easier path to the semis. Now Oregon, but I want to, Ari, you're more of a gambler than me, and you understand the numbers. Is it less likely that you win 2 games than you win 1?
Well, that's a fact. It's less likely that because you're exposed twice.
Right.
But also too, like SMU is good. And
SMU is good. But Boise State is good.
I know. So you have 2 good teams. And I guess the question for you is, like, if you were playing a video game, would you rather play the hardest final boss once or the middle final boss twice? Like that's what I'm at. Like, I mean, that's what it is. So like if Oregon, like we're talking about Penn State here, so we're viewing it through the Penn State eyes. Like Penn State does not have a great track record of winning big games. And both of these are big games. And the column that I wrote on Sunday for On3 was about this. It's like James Franklin hit the lottery with the draw, but now he's got more pressure than he ever could have imagined because if he loses the SMU game, people are going to go ape shit. Like it's an expectation. And like we're joking with River that like it's negative spice and that it's crispy nuggets, but it's just like, could you imagine if they don't do it? Like they're expected to do it. And that's the scary part. But like if Oregon, like think about Oregon or Georgia or something playing these 2 teams, you might actually think it's like, I don't know. Oregon played Boise down to a point, so maybe it's not harder.
Right. We've seen it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So on FanDuel to make the semifinals, you've got Penn State at -184, and then Georgia and Oregon, both who have buys, are at -136 for Georgia and -138 for Oregon.
Yeah, because those are just the games that those just their odds to beat the team they're playing.
Yeah, just the odds to beat them.
Because I actually think if Notre Dame beats Indiana, that's potentially stylistically the toughest matchup for Georgia.
Yeah, hold on. Let me look up the odds for just like Penn State's money line against SMU. SMU, Penn State is -325 to win the game outright. So like there's the difference there. So like if they're going to be -325 in the first one and then minus probably 250 or 225 in the second one, then you add it all together. I mean, like everything with this gambling stuff is just math, right? Like I don't know.
Right. And that's why I asked and why there is a little tiny element of spice to River's take is you are exposed twice here. Best daily fantasy game in America. Download the app. Use the code Staples. Play $5. Get $50 instantly. This week, you got an almost free Patrick Mahomes square if he throws for 0.5 yards. So if he throws for a yard, you win that square. And the way Prize Picks works is you're picking squares. You pick at least 2. The more you pick, the higher the potential payout. So that Patrick Mahomes square is there for you if you need it. Army Navy's this week. Bryson Daly. So I was looking at his passing number. His passing number for this game is 63.5 passing yards. You think more or less. He threw twice against Tulane. They really could have gotten away with throwing 0 times, but he threw twice for 17 yards. He has gone more than that number quite a few times. He did it against UTSA, did it against East Carolina, did it against UAB, did it against Tulsa, did it against Rice. But if they're humming the way they want to, they're not going to have to throw that much. So you have to decide how successful is Army going to be. The more successful they are, the more likely you're going to go less than on the passing yards and more than on the 127.5 rushing yards for Bryson Daly. So you've got to make those decisions. Prize Picks, by the way, not just college football, though. They've got the NBA. They've got the NFL. The NFL, you've got your free Patrick Mahomes square or 99% off Patrick Mahomes square. And then the NHL, basically any esports, anywhere someone competes, Prize Picks has squares. Download the app, use the code Staples, play $5, get $50 instantly. we do have the situation where, you have the Penn State reputation, the James Franklin reputation.
I'm scared for him. I don't know about you. Are you? I'm scared for him.
Well, I am too. Because that's going to be bad. Like, okay, let's pose a question, and the chat, feel free to answer this one too. Worse reaction by the fan base: James Franklin loses to SMU, Ryan Day loses to Tennessee.
Well, Ryan Day.
Really? You sure about that?
I mean, they're already out on him, it feels like.
Ari?
Penn State fans are out on Franklin too. I
Yeah,
mean, you
that's
saw
what I'm
the
saying.
reaction
This is
after
closer
the-
than you think.
Yeah. I mean,
But, I
I've
mean, I
seen
don't think
way
that
more. Sorry.
It doesn't really matter though, because like James Franklin's contractually locked in. Like there's nothing they can do about it, right? Like they're still soon enough into their God contract that like he's their coach. Like with Ohio State, like there's some question right now about whether or not he will return next year. That's Ryan Day. So like here's the thing. Ohio State fans and I think media are calling, like before the year it was national title or bust for them. Like now it's like think about it.
I think even Ryan Day said that.
If Ohio State wins the game against Tennessee and loses in the second round, failure. If Ohio State beats the first two teams and loses in the semifinal, failure. If Ohio State advances to the national championship game and loses, failure. So like there's so losing the first one would be like nuclear. I don't know how to say that word. I never have. Which one is it?
It's like it's spelled nuclear.
Nuclear. But at the same time, too, it's like, the thing that you have to understand about the Ohio State situation is that it's currently at level 10. Like they're already at the end of their rope. Like
they're already out.
Yeah, like
it's the Michigan game, losing to this particular Michigan team.
It can't get worse than that.
Right. And that's the compounding factor here that I think that makes it probably still puts Day in the worst position if they lose that game. But I'm telling you right now that the Franklin situation isn't good if they lose.
People back in. People are hoping again. And like also too, James Franklin, I thought here's the thing. I know Penn State's not like a big moral victory place, and I'm not trying to be patronizing. But like somebody tweeted, Nick Baumgartner tweeted, "Oh, look at Penn State, James Franklin under-delivering in a big game again." It's like, I thought he over-delivered on Saturday. Like, am I alone in that? Like, I thought they played really well and like showed me something that I didn't even know they had.
Agreed. That was not the game I was expecting from them. And if they play like that against everybody else they'll see, they'll win.
Everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they have an opportunity to win some games. And like, listen, they lost by a touchdown to Oregon. They had the ball down 8 in the final few minutes of the game, and like there was like basically a pick 6 in the first. Like they had a lot of mistakes in that game. They didn't play a clean, great game and just come up short. They like shot themselves in the foot a lot too. So like Penn State, I thought showed a drive or a gear that I didn't know that they could shift to in that game. And I thought like, okay, well they lost. It's not a moral victory. They lost, but like at the same time, it's like if they would have lost 35-14 or something, or lost in the same manner in which they lost to Ohio State by not moving the football, like I'd be like upset alert from SMU. But like now it's like, no, they're going to beat SMU. So, and if they lose at home to a Texas team in a blizzard where the Fairfield Inns are $1,900 a night, like then like I think that you actually can make the case that it's going to be worse for Franklin because Ohio State and Ryan Day are already in like fan hatred hell right now.
It's fair.
By the way, you just reminded me, the forecast is probably fairly accurate now, or at least a little bit accurate this far out. So let's see what the old State College weather is for next Saturday. Now I'm very curious. We get to Friday. So Friday is sunny, high 36, low 27. So that's, if the next day is like that, I think, SMU is going to be cold, but for people who live in Dallas, that's not really that bad. So let's check the Columbus weather. And again, as we pointed out, Knoxville's cold too. So I don't think it's that big of a difference. High 37, low 31 on Friday. So we'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow what that weather is going to be. Producer River says it's snowing in Knoxville today. So there you go. It's also snowing in Columbus today. One more. Doesn't matter because Indiana is also in Indiana. But let's see what the South Bend weather is for the game on Friday. South Bend weather, high 35, low 28, chance of snow. Possible sleet. Let's go.
You're driving from the airport, by the way.